Today I'm going to show you how I designed these customizable nameplates in Prusa Slicer. They self-balance and you can change them to whatever you want. I used Is It Food Safe and No Supports Given because they fit into my sense of humor, but you can do whatever you want. You could make customizable names for friends, for family, something for work, whatever you want to do, and also how to make your own base plate that will fit whatever one that you make for whatever height. This one fits this Is It Food Safe, and I used a negative volume, so wow, there we go. So, and you'll see that if you look at it, it fits particularly this one, and just for fun, because I just find it fun to do. So, alright, without further ado, oh, it would have helped if I put it forward. Without further ado, well, let's get on to showing you how it's done. So, it's kind of late, so you'll just have to excuse me. I'm in a little bit of a garage troll mode, but I designed these completely in Prusa Slicer. They're fully customizable. I'll have two pre-made ones, so if you want to, you can make it. What's nice about the new version of Prusa Slicer is there are some little still errors doing this, but it seems like they did implement the from Blender's the difference boolean, in where it actually does take the difference in between two and will give you an actual file. Because so if you I exported this and it gave me that, had to cut it to make it fully, but I'll show that in a minute. So this is practically a self-balancing nameplate. You can put your name, you can put whatever you want. I decided to do Is It Food Safe, and then we're going to do a no supports needed, because this doesn't need supports. And I figured I would keep it in the spirit of 3D printing. And when you go into like the groups, that's what you're always hearing, Is It Food Safe, even if it has nothing to do with food. So I figure we'll have fun with it. The only thing that you will need for this is Prusa Slicer 2.6 is highly recommended. And yeah, you actually will need 2.6 because it is using their text feature, and you will need to have the right kind of font for this. You don't have to have it, but you probably will be missing parts of letters if you don't have the right font. Like right here, the O. If you don't have the parts that are, if you see right there, cut out, the inner part of it will fall out. Which, I mean, if you want that, that's fine, but like, you probably want to be able to see the actual, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So, for the font, the one that I recommend, and I will include it in the description, that is right here. So it has a SIL open font license, so you can use it commercially if you want to, and downloaded it here. It is this one right here. It is the Carla Bold stencil, and if you have Windows 11, you can just download it, and then you drag it to your font settings. Let's do it. Let's go to OTF, download it. I have something just for fonts, but I'm just going to save it here. Save. And if you have Windows 11, it's a little bit more if you want to do it in Windows 10. So you go to your font settings, and then all you do is you find wherever it was. I have too many files, 3D programs. You will take it and you will drag it over. It's already installed for me, so I'm not going to replace it, but you will hit yes if you don't have it. Alright, so that's all you have to do to install it. Prusa Slicer should pick it up. Okay, and let me keep this up, okay? So, now, I am going to open another Prusa Slicer so that we can make it brand new from scratch, okay? But, so if you wanted to change the ones that I'm going to do, for if I know. Let's hide one of these. We're going to hide that one because that one's not the customizable one. And take it off the board. So if you want to customize the one and you're not really interested, so if you just want to, don't want to watch the tutorial on how it's made, come on. Sometimes it's going to be annoying. right now it chooses to be annoying for me. Okay, so if you don't want to watch how it's made, you might have difficulty. So this is, just keep in mind that this is tilted at a 40-degree angle. So if you need to switch it back so that you can do edits, whenever you do edits, if you try to edit it while it's tilted, it will skew it and you'll have issues later. So if I wanted to, like, let's say make this longer, make it shorter, you first want to take the whole item, okay, click here, and over here I'm going to do a -40. You can do it in negatives, and let's say I want to make it shorter. You're going to want to go to the shape box and click the unlock button over here, okay? And let's say you want to do 240. Now, important to make sure of is if you go to the object coordinates, you need to go to the shape box. Make sure that your X is on 0 and the box, I cut the box to make it that way, is 0. Because if it's not 0, let's say it's 5, okay? You'll notice that it's not centered anymore. And actually, it's off a little bit. It needs to be fixed in the netfab. Okay, so let's fix this in the netfab real quick. Sometimes when you turn it around a little bit, the transforms kind of get messed with a little bit too much, okay? So now, if you take the box and you move the, not the rotate, the position. If you move it, oh, I clicked earlier wrong place. Like, let's move this 5. Now it's not going to be perfectly centered anymore, okay? And that's going to make it so that when you put it down, it's no longer going to balance, okay? So the best way is when you do, it's very, very easy to want to use this and say, oh, I'm going to eyeball it and make it perfectly centered. No, don't suffer that way. Just, I mean, it seems like it's more work, but it's not. You get used to it real fast. So go to your object coordinates and then just 0 and make sure everything is 0 when you reshape it, okay? Other thing is that when you do, there's a trick that I never realized till recently. And when you do the seam painting, so when you go to your print settings and you go to align, you want to make sure sometimes if your retraction and de-retraction settings aren't correct, you're going to get a little bit of like the weird seams and you want to have them hidden. I have this box right there to show you where I recommend it to be because you want it closer to the center, but you don't want it here or here because then it might not sit right. So if you click, okay, if you hit click here and you want to paint on, you want seam painting. Now I've always hated having to drop, but if you click where you want it, okay, click where you want, now press the Alt button, now go down to where you want it and then click again. Oh, why is it not doing it? Oh, sorry. Let's do this again, okay? Let's remove selection. So you're going to click and then you're going to press Alt. You're going to just press it and let go, okay? You're not going to hold it. And then you're going to click again. It will make the line for you, okay? I don't know why this is set to... So again, click, press and hold the left button, press and let go of the Alt button, okay? And then click again, and you have that. I saw it in, I think, one of the Prusa forums. I don't remember who figured it out. They're amazing. Hopefully somebody will say who found it out. They're great. Okay? And then when you go slice now, make sure you check your seams. Because if you don't check your seams, oh, oops. If you don't check your seams, you want to make sure that your seams are not on the part where you're going to want you see right there, you don't want the seams to be right there. Like right here is not optimal, okay? So let's go to print settings, let's go to rear. Okay, platter, slice now. Okay, so that's better. That's not too bad right there, that's okay. If it was like on the line right here, then that would be more troublesome, but that's fine. All right, that looks good. Okay. If you had something longer and you needed to turn it, then I do recommend the 40, but this is fine, okay? So, and then it is the Carla, so text. And what I'm going to do is we're going to change it from is it food safe to, right, so you're going to right click, edit text, to, next one's going to be no supports given, okay? And you can see on the bottom what it looks like. Okay, so when you slice now, because, so the text, the way it's set up is practically a negative volume. That's what it looks like, okay? Alright, so that's for anybody who wants to just take the file and just edit it as is and doesn't want to learn how to make it. Okay, then you can just click off here. Pretty simple, and then try to think if there's anything else that anyone needs. It's kind of late. It's like pretty late, and garage troll. I'm a total garage troll at this time. So let's see. Yep, I think that's what you need. You have font. Yes. Okay. So to start from new. Okay. Let's go to. Let's just open a new one. Right click, Prusa slicer. Okay, super easy. Oh, well, I'll show it here. So, all you do is add a shape, box. Okay, we are going to, now, so a lot of times they like to lock it in size. So you're just going to unlock it. We're going to make it to the size we want. So let's make it 240. And tab, and let's say that's about not bad. That's not bad. Let's make a little bit taller. Let's make it 30. Okay. Now, we are going to add a part. Okay. You can add a box. But before we do that, before we add a part, let's add it another part separately, okay? For a reason, because we're going to want to cut that part. If you add it to this part right here, then you're going to have to try to cut it while it's joined, and that just, it's much easier to first add another box and then merge it later. Okay, so let's add this. Let's make it a little bit bigger. We'll relock it so that all the sizes stay the same. Okay, well, how tall is this one? But you're going to want to match the height, so that's 25. Let's give it 25. I'll just keep this one 25. Let's just do that. Okay. So, now. Let's make it wider. Sorry, I feel like being indecisive. Okay. I'm tired. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut it. I am going to turn it by 45 degrees. And a lot of people really do like to use this rotate. If you do use this rotate, just keep in mind, make sure that you're careful. You don't want to do anything that whenever you see those dot, you know, the decimal like 0.9347, you want to avoid it because it will cause problems later if you want to resize or scale. Lots of problems are caused by this. I've had a lot of problems because if you're designing anything solely in Prusa Slicer, and I mean, I've learned Blender, I've learned a bit of Fusion, but I stick away from Fusion for lots of different reasons. I like to stay open source. But this does cause a lot of problems later. You want to make sure that you stick to the degrees, like the 10, 15. Okay, so if you kind of click there, it will kind of snap. But I do recommend getting used to working with this table over here. It's much better you get exact, and it's just much easier for remembering later too. So here, now we're going to go to the cut tool. I do wish that you could just put to where you want to cut it, but you have to go to the scale. We're going to hit it at that 90. Okay, we're only going to keep one side of this, so we only need A for right now. Well, we only need A for all of it. And I'm going to go back. We're going to cut it. Luckily, it keeps where you want it to, and we're going to keep the orientation because I just don't feel like. Okay, so Now we're going to cut it again, because when the first time I did this, I didn't cut it at the bottom, so I had to sand it off, and nothing is as perfect as when you just have it done on the printer the first time. So let's do it on the printer. Let's do 90. Let's go down. It's always take off a little bit. You don't need to take off that much, okay? And we're going to keep this time B, not A. Perform cut. Okay, now we're going to merge. Okay, now the important part of this is after it's merged, you need to go down to Object Coordinates. Okay, so the only part of the buttons on the left is I will just take it and move it to right there. Okay, after that you want to do everything on the right hand side, because all you have to do is zero things out. 0 and 0. Okay, so now those are dead center of where you want them to be. Okay, so now you just add the text. Let's see, add part, text. We are going to font, and we are looking for Carla, because that's the one we added. It doesn't have to be Carla, as long as it, as long as the font is like a stencil type font, because you notice I have other ones that I found online. As long as it has, parts where there are supports embedded, you'll be fine. We'll do the no supports given. No supports given. And let me see here, we are going to, let's make the height bigger. Let's do, how big is the whole thing? 20, I'll just go up by 5. Oh, that's fine, okay. So, now let's go back to here. We're going to go to Object, and you see where it's -17? Let's zero that out. It will be centered. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so you'll want to make sure that it also is tall enough. Okay, so when you click on here, right click it, edit text, your depth, you don't have to. You could easily have it different on each side if you want. Just if you have it differently on each side, make sure that it's equal on both sides, okay? Or you're not going to get it's not going to balance. It has to be equal from the right to the left. Let's see here. You're going to want the depth to be all the way, so let's go 26. Well, I think let's try that, okay? Let's see. Now let's put this to the bottom. Make sure you see it on the bottom. Okay. So, we'll slice it now. Okay. Now let's see where the seams are. Make sure there's nothing with the seams that will give problems later. Doesn't seem like it. Well, it should be fine, but I would definitely for this do the rear again. Nope. Print settings, you're gonna want it to be rear. Oh, and I have an MK3. I know that you see MK4 settings. I print with MK4 settings on my MK3. If you do that, make sure that your printer has a really, really good calibrated first layer. So I'm not recommending you do that. Do that at your own risk, but that's what I do. So I'm doing this on an MK3 with MK4 settings. Let's see what it does now. Okay, that is better. Yeah, on the P it's not there. Okay, looks good. As long as one of these are fine. Okay. And, one cool thing is it worked last time. I don't know if it'll work this time. So normally I do with like a 0.8 nozzle, but when I did it with a 0.8 nozzle, it wasn't as crisp as you're not gonna get as many details. And especially with lettering, that's where the 0.4 I feel shines. If I didn't have lettering, I would stick with the 0.8. Probably would have done really well with the 0.62, but I was making this originally as a gift for someone. So, and then I was like, oh, well, hey, guess what? There's a contest going on. Why don't I? Maybe other people might be interested in it. Who knows? Probably no one will watch this. So, if you go export it as STL, we're going to do no supports given. Okay, and when you go to import, let's see if it works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see what this does now. Yeah, see, that did not go. One sec. For some reason, sometimes it works, like I said, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see if I fix it. Sometimes, let's fix this. Oh, wait. Let's fix it through the netfab. Let's delete this one. Delete. Let me... Okay. So, sometimes for the negative volume, sometimes I think that needs to be all the way through. Let's take this, let's name it as copy. Okay, now let's export it. Scale to... I wonder if that will make a difference. Now, let's export it. I'm gonna Control V. Okay, we'll save it as STL. Save. Yes. Yes. Now let me import it and let's see if that did it. Where is it? Actually, I think it worked. It did work. So sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. So if you see right there, when I loaded it, it loaded. And that is really nice. That's really nice. That is a new feature that the 2.6 does allow. And from here, there are a lot of things that can be done with this. This is super exciting. You can make a ton of things with using negative supports or negative modifiers. Like if I wanted to, I could, if I want to, sorry, it's kind of exciting. Let's see if it will allow me to do that. Okay. Well, if I want to do a heart, let's do a heart. We are going to add it. Where are you, heart? I want it to hide from me. We're going to make you smaller, though. Okay, well, we're going to first hide you, take you off, going to move you up. Now we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Let's lock this in place. Let's do 25. I'm going to make this 27. No. Unlock button. 27. Okay, so we'll need to add to this. Add a negative volume. Let's do a slab. Let's first turn it. Yes. 90. Make it thinner. Let's do 1. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is if you remember earlier about the font, it won't work well unless this is, let's go 40, 45. 50, make it easier. Okay, so let's export this heart. Well, let's first, tell you what, scale to, oh, nope, 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 nope. Let's fix it through the netfab. Let's simplify, no. Okay, let's export as a heart. Now let's file, import, import a heart. Come on, I hope it works. Please let it work. Please let it work. No. See, it worked. It works some of the times, not all the times. Do I have to always do scale to print volume? Okay, let's try it this time. Let's go export. Let's try it one more time. Yes. File, import. No. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because, I mean, if it did work, what I was hoping was I could then put like a little heart that was subtracted right there. That would have been really nice. So, I guess it's just a work in progress. You know, maybe they'll get it working eventually. But I guess not today. Not today. Try one more thing. Okay. Let's delete. Sometimes, every once in a while, it wants you to simplify the model. So let's simplify it and simplify. We're going to fix it through the netfab. Now, okay, try it this way. Okay, file, import, import. It did work. It worked this time. Yay. So now we shall make this. No. Well, you know what? Let's do it 20. Actually, we'll do this 20. Let's make this 18. Okay. We want to make this, unlock it. Let's do it 27. Should be taller. Yep. Okay, now we're going to shift. For some reason, okay, let me first get rid of this one. I mean, I could keep it on the board and just do this and just take it. So when you hit that, it won't print. Like, so if I hit slice now, the ones that are not fully on the board and the ones that have that won't show for printing. So just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to click this one and this one with the shift button, okay, and I'm going to right click and then I'm going to hit merge. Okay, now they should be one together. Need to fix the no supports given STL. Now we're going to go here to object coordinates. Okay, we're going to zero this one out. Okay, X, we're going to zero this one out, and then I'm going to use this one so that we're only going with one variable. Okay, and let's see what it looks like. Oh, Okay, so it's too big. Remember, we're going to need to 40 degree it. Oh, oops. Come on. It's late. Give me a break. Okay, let's 40 degree the whole thing. You have to click on the merged 40. Okay, center this one. Take this one out. Slice now. Okay. Oh, stupid me. So you have to then, from the A heart, you're going to need to change your type to negative volume. Okay, and you need to make it needs to go all the way to the bottom, so make sure that make this 30. We are going to hit it to the bottom. Didn't go all the way to the bottom, so we're going to force it down. There we go. Slice now, let's see what happens. There you go. It should work. That should be fine. But there you go. That's just for, just more for the learning purposes. You'd probably want to use a bigger slab and do a bigger negative volume before you do the export for next time. A quick trick for that would be, so if you have this one right here, since I still have it, we're going to take this here, and if you wanted to do like a quick change, what you could do is take this, take the slab, make the slab just a little bit bigger. Let's take this to 2. You can export it again. Well, really quickly center it. I thought it was off center a little bit. Okay, and then what you can do is export it. Export a heart. Save. Yes. Okay. I'm going to really quickly import it before I do what I'm going to do next. So import. See what it does. Make sure that it has. Okay, cool. So what you can do is right here, and you see that that's better. It's a little bit more. So right here, if you click and you go reload from disk, you'll notice that it will reload it. You don't have to like go in and import and merge and all of that. You can just keep whatever you have here, fix it here, and then just reload it here. And then you just go back to object, just 0, and make sure that this is 0. And it is perfectly centered, and you can do no supports given with a heart. And you won't need any supports because of the way it is, and it should, it should be balanced. So everybody does have the best settings that work for their printer, but for me, I do like to do it face down, and I do like for the infill angle to match whatever angle I have it set on the bed. So if I'm using 40, if I have this angled at 40, then I will have my fill angle at 40, and I'll show you what I do. So let's make this and make sure that before I was doing it at object coordinates, it's better to do world coordinates for this, because the infill angle might be a little bit odd when you do this. I was having that problem earlier. And so let's turn this, and we'll do this 180. And now we're going to turn this to 40. And when we do the infill angle, hopefully, now we should see that the infill should line up. Okay, yes, it does that. If you do get, one thing to note is sometimes you will have one go one way and then it go a different direction. If you do get that, just change your Z to make it, oh, see, it changed all of a sudden on me. Don't know how that happened, but if it does that, what you can do, I guess my computer just decided it was going to listen to me. Just unlock and you can just play with it and just change your size sometimes. that will work. And you can make it match. Let's see, let's just make it a little bit smaller or bigger. So taller, I'm gonna mess with Z, so let's make this 26 point, let's go 6. Because what it does, remember, is it alternates. So now you have it same on the top as you do the bottom. All right, that's one way to make it so that it is the same on the top and on the bottom, okay? And let's see, is there anything else that I wanted to say? Just don't forget that when you do this, sometimes it will change your seams again. So check your seams, make sure that these ones are not being affected, where the lettering in the middle is not going to affect your prints. And if you want to, just remember for the seam, you probably don't want that one there. See right there, it did change it. If just remember that shortcut, which is you're going to click here, you're going to paint on supports. No, sorry, you're going to do seam painting. You're going to click Alt, let go of the Alt. So you're going to press and hold the click button. Here, let's remove this again, okay? Put this to 0.4. You're going to press and hold the click, then you're going to tap the Alt, let go, and then you're going to click down to where you want it to go, and it should make a straight line. Kind of like that, but not really. Let's try this again, but a little bit closer this time. So click and hold, press and hold the click button, Alt, okay, and then click again. Of course, it's just not going to do it because I want to show it. So press and hold the click button, tap the Alt, let go, and then click again. So therefore, you now have a straight line. Let's see how it goes, and now you have a straight line. So there you have it. So next, I'm going to show you how to do a base, but for whatever reason, this middle portion didn't record right with sound, and that other portion I was having difficulty. So on to the next. Hey, so I've been having some recording difficulties today. Earlier, when trying to record, for some reason my microphone was making me sound like a dolphin. Luckily, you won't be hearing that today. But I figured I would show you guys how to make a base. For the most part, these bounce perfectly well, but let's say you're giving this as a gift to someone, and you want to have a base for it. Or let's say, like, sometimes, like, when you make this, if you're not careful with the spacing, you might have something that just slightly leans to one side or the other, and let's say you don't want it to lean, and you want it to just be absolutely perfect, and you want to give it something to kind of give it support to one side or the other, So for either which way, you just want, for aesthetic purposes, for it to have a base, or you want it to help it if it's just, for whatever reason, not perfectly balancing. Let me show you how to make a base. It's super simple. So first, let's go -40 because remember I did it by 40, okay? We're going to copy, and yes, I do know that I do have another here, but it's better to have more than the other because this one has the heart, and just better, less work than trying to, I could do it and recenter again, but why when you can just copy and paste it? I prefer less work, okay? So now I'm just going to delete the heart here, and because sometimes you do resize things and you don't think that you resized it, you forget it later and like, oh, I resized it, crap, what was it supposed to be at, And then especially when you're working with negative volumes, you do resize things by like point. You might change them to like 100. You'll see what, like 100.9 or 100.4, and then things will be off by just a little bit, and you might want to keep these around. Okay, so now we're going to make our base. Super easy. You can do it here or here, but we're going to add it, and some people might just add it to the product first. If you do that, then you would have to bring up it and then cut it. It's just, unfortunately, you can't cut one item once you've merged it. You have to cut like the whole item. So it's just easier to do it at first. So let's just go to our shape gallery. You could use any STL, and I mean any STL, to make a base. If I wanted to, I could make this bunny a base. I could use any STL that I've created, a base. Okay, but let's just make a cone. We're gonna add it to bed. Okay, if I want to get super fancy, so okay, let's go down. We're gonna cut, I only want B. Okay, so that'll be our little plaque. Let's make it bigger. Let's lock it. Let's make it 45. Okay. And I could do 2 layers of this if I wanted to copy paste, but let's just do 1. Let's just make it easy and faster because the video is getting longer than I wanted it to begin with. All right, so now we can merge it. Well, first let's take this item right here. Come on. So let's take this item and we are going to turn it -90. Okay. Put it somewhat here. Now, for some reason, when you are on here, on the bed, you click Shift to choose both of them, and then you're going to hit Merge. Over here, you would hit Control. Okay, so now we're going to go to Object. You're going to click on the individual ones under Merged, and you could rename it with Base, whatever you want to name it, okay? So, let's zero them out. Okay, so now everything is centered, okay? Now, what I recommend is, I mean, you could have it so that it sits straight on. So like if you were to slice, well, first you need to make this part a negative volume, okay? So this one is going to be, you're going to change your type and you're going to negative volume this, okay? So when you slice now, that is, you know, the negative volume, but if you're sitting this on a desk and you know, the one part about that is, like, if there's something underneath, you know, you could get, I mean, it might not be bad because if, like, dust gets inside, it's easy to just, like, kind of, like, blow it out, you know, clean it out easy. But you have options, you know. You can also take it and you can lift it up, okay? And when you slice it, you will notice, you just have to make sure it's tall enough, okay? So you can also go here. Let's make the cone just a little bit tall. Let's make it 5. Okay. Oh, wait. Oops. Let's unlock it. Make this 5. Okay. And let's see how deep it goes in. That is not what it's supposed to do. I don't know how that happened, but okay, let's go 5. Okay, that's much more what I was looking for. Okay, we're gonna go to there. Let's take this. Slice now. See, you can make it as deep as you want. You can make it go all the way. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do with this. So all up to you. Just kind of a nice little thing to do. And if you want to, what's really nice is you could also add letters right here. I mean, lots of things you can do with Prusa Slicer. They've done a lot of great things with their slicer. You can really build a lot of things with a slicer, especially now with the negative volumes. Definitely a great way to build things. I would recommend it over Tinkercad. If you're creative, you can build quite a lot with this. So yep, here's your base. Oh, before I forget, one important thing that you will need to know is when you do it this way, you will need to resize. Okay, if you're planning them together, and if I had planned my base with my nameplate, what I would have done is I would have made this part a little bit bigger, and then this would have been, I mean, I would have, how to put it? My words are not working the way I want them to right now, but you know, you plan them together. I could have made this a little bit bigger and then this, but since I've already done the nameplate, what I will want to do is I will want to make this plate a little bit bigger, okay? Because this is already printed out, okay? So I normally work with a 0.8 nozzle, but today I'm doing it with the 0.4. Whenever I do lettering, I do find the 0.4 nozzle works better. The smaller nozzles do work better. So I will lock the scale in because I want uniformity between X, Y, and Z. And normally I do 100.9 or 100.8, but I think because it's smaller nozzle, I don't need to have, it's not by a lot, but if you don't change it by enough, there's just too much friction. And what's nice is a lot of times I will use the M3 screw, and I will use that as a negative volume so that I can, like, when I made my air staff for my cosplay, instead of having to like glue, I don't glue things. I scaled it up and I was able to screw in all the parts together so that, when I got tired of carrying it around, I was able to just like, unscrew it, and then I could just put in my book bag, which is really nice. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this. So, but that was scaled at 100.9. So you just scale this at, you're going to want to make the base, and you're going to want to hit the cone. And you're going to want to make this one just a little bit bigger. Let's do this 100.4. And because it's small, you want to normally play with the smaller one, and this shouldn't take too long. Did it do it? Yeah, it did it. Okay, so when you slice now, that should take 15 minutes, and that doesn't take long, and then you can just see how it works out. All right, hope that helped, and hope you liked it. Hope you liked this tutorial. All right, take care.